super excited to introduce Ugur, so close, who also worked at University of South Carolina almost at the same time I did at the AI Institute. He's also an instructor at University of Georgia during his doctoral program. And he's talking to us here in just a second. His term is knowledge-infused learning. That's what he considers his essence and what he's all about. So thank you, Ugur.
Great. Thank you very much.
Thank you, thank you.
Thank you. All right. Okay. Okay. All right, so thank you very much for a wonderful introduction. So I'm very happy to be here. So I'm a local, so I'm from Atlanta, Georgia. So I call myself Georgian because I spend a significant of my time in the state of Georgia here. So, and currently I'm an assistant professor at Georgia State University. We have a group of researchers over there called SWAN AI Research Group, where we are working on AI models, deep learning, machine learning, but more specifically combining them with the knowledge graphs, applying them to different areas in real world, including business, marketing, social issues, and healthcare. And today I'm going to talk to you about one of these projects that we work with the Adobe related to marketing algorithms. And more specifically, we are working on a project where we are working with a multimodal content and how we can actually understand multimodal content from a machine point of view, and also how we can incorporate the social social aspect of these interactions or the marketing processes into these algorithms so that we can actually predict, measure, and generate socially relevant content for marketing professionals. So marketing is a very human-centered problem. It is a socially relevant problem, so that we have to approach the problem accordingly. So as not only marketing, so there are many other issues where we are actually dealing with social and behavioral issues, because at the end of the day, so we are dealing with human, wherever there are humans, then we need to incorporate the human perspectives and also social perspectives of problems as well. And we need to incorporate them into the algorithms too. So, so the questions here then becomes, so of course the humans are actually more reactive, and also human brain is also more efficiently working when they are exposed to multimodal content. So working with different modalities of content is one of the problems. But also how social strategies or social information can actually be incorporated in this type of algorithms or in this type of models. Another problem here is how can, after you find out this type of social insights, how you can actually leverage these insights into your algorithms as well. And of course, another new problem that we deal with, how can you generate such content, like multimodal content, that is going to be more relevant and tuned for the audience that you're targeting? So all these questions are actually the questions that we are trying to deal with. Of course, as I said, there are challenges since we are dealing with humans and socially and behaviorally infused problems in general. So for all these problems, there are different challenges from like context or ambiguity in the content. The fairness, of course, is another big issue. And multidimensionality, so what is good for me may not be good for you. So how we are going to actually disambiguate different perspectives. So all these different challenges and different dimensions of the problem, we have to account for when we are developing our models, and also we are deploying these into practice. So first, we wanted to understand actually what are the underlying factors for effective social marketing, social media marketing. We looked at the social media marketing because we can actually easily find social media data. Of course, that was the case before Twitter restricted the API access, but still we were able to collect data before the restriction took place. So then we wanted to understand like what are the underlying factors for effective marketing campaigns. So we looked at some different brands and their marketing campaigns, and we analyzed what makes these successful campaigns successful and unsuccessful campaigns unsuccessful. So the successful campaign, we actually measured user engagement and realized that some of the brands are actually quite successful, driving a lot of user engagement, but some of the brands were not actually successful. So what are the factors that separating them from each other? What makes the brands successful and what other brands not successful? So we identified some of the brands. Of course, we used crowdsourcing, just asking people certain brands, so we asked them to separate them based on some characteristics, and we realized that these categories were actually like mostly the luxurious brands and non-luxurious brands. So we separated them into two groups and analyzed their content. What is actually different in their content and in their interactions with the users. So we realized that there are different dimensions of their content actually that they are crafting differently, and that is mostly the multimodality of the content and what they have in their profile information and how actually they are driving user engagement in the form of likes or retweets or replies. And also what type of content they are actually generating, they are sharing with their users. So based on all these categories, so there are certain differences between them. So as you can see here, the differences are quite apparent here between these. So the luxurious brands are mostly engaging, and their profile information is actually quite different in general. So most of the time, the difference between the two brands are, so the luxurious brands are posing themselves as a high status or high status brands that are unattainable, that you cannot actually achieve or reach that level like very easily. On the other hand, non-luxurious brands, so they are like more personable, they are more like friendly, and they are emotional, so they are reachable, so they are actually more at the level of like the consumer or an ordinary person like myself. So and when you look at the type of content that they are using, so most of the time the luxury brands are actually about themselves. So they try to promote themselves, like the product or the brand itself. Or on the other hand, the mainstream brands, they are mostly about the customer. So they're actually targeting the customer. And they are mostly reaching out to the customers, trying to help in general. So on the other hand, all of these findings, what brands are being successful in terms of user engagement and what others cannot be successful. So these are actually providing us some insights that we can incorporate into the products. So if we are going to design some kind of product that we can actually measure, predict, and generate content for marketing purposes. So that's what we need to have, or that we design actually as a probable product. So first of all, of course, we need to understand the consumer behavior in general and what type of content they are reacting to. And now we can predict the user engagement, the probable user engagement that we can achieve with that product. And also we can generate content, what kind of content is going to be more effective in general. So then this actually leads us to the idea of how we can design a co-pilot tool for effective marketing in general. So that was the goal for our project. And we started from understanding the overall consumer behavior, and then we try to model these type of these factors into the model. So first of all, the main component of our approach is actually the knowledge graphs. Knowledge graphs, as you have listened actually in the past 2 days, 1.5 days, so it's an important component for extracting or exploiting the contextual information in the data. And specifically, knowledge graphs are important because it's external and human curated, where you can actually explicitly identify the relationship between the entities or the concepts in the real world. And specifically for marketing, this is important because we can actually specifically disambiguate the concepts and their meanings that we can incorporate into the product so that the products are going to be linked to the correct behavior or the more appropriate behavior in the model as well. And that is going to be reflected on the prediction and also the generation too. So one of the examples that we have in our project here, as you can see here, this is a multimodal content. It just want multimodal content here, and one of the pictures here, it is actually two women, and they are actually quite confident, and then they are actually giving some message, right? And when you look at the caption, so it is more about like the social message, and they are trying to promote the women's rights that is important and critical for our society. So that is the message that they are trying to give. On the other hand, when you only focus on the image or when you only focus on the text, so this meaning is not going to come out from this content. To be able to get this meaning from the content, then you have to identify the semantic relationships between the image and the text so that you can actually create the proper meaning, the holistic meaning, or the true meaning of the content in general. So for this reason, we are using knowledge graphs. When you use some large language models or large visual models to be able to give the meaning or explanation of this content, so most of the time, they are actually giving some explanation, but they are hallucinating. And that is not actually a desirable behavior for a model because this is not a factual information. So it might be very hard to just take it away from the model, but you can at least mitigate. And knowledge graph is actually mitigating this type of behavior, hallucination from the model. So as you can see here, when we incorporate knowledge into the model, it is actually, the hallucination is actually decreasing, but on the other hand, it is properly making the connection between the text and the image, giving you the more contextually coherent explanation. So, and also running some experiments, if it actually is true for all of the data set, then when you just visualize the data points for image and text and just simply measure the distance, semantic distance between them, so when you include knowledge in the model, it is the clusters that you see over here, they are getting denser, and also the gap between the text and the image, it is actually getting closer too. So that means it is actually getting more coherent contextually, giving you a more coherent meaning in general. So our approach is knowledge-infused learning, where we are incorporating knowledge representation into the machine learning or deep learning representation. So here, this is our approach where we are using bidirectional transformers for multimodal learning and then knowledge graph embedding models with semantic search. And then we are infusing this knowledge into the representation. So then, different modules of the approach. Of course, the retrieval module is an important part of our approach, and retrieval has been an important or highlight of the conference so far. So for this reason, I'm happy to be on the same page with the practitioners. So semantic search is actually to be able to find out the most relevant concepts and the triples from the knowledge graphs so that we can actually just generate the knowledge representation from them so that we can incorporate them into the multimodal representation. So, of course, multimodal learning, we are using a multimodal learning framework. And at the end, we are infusing knowledge into the model representation. At the end, we are getting better results. Our approach with knowledge are mostly outperforming, but the best performing model is still the model with the knowledge graphs. Of course, the generation part is also critical because as we are understanding different factors, different underlying factors of the behavior or the social interactions, how we can use these insights into the generation, right? So if a marketer is going to generate some marketing material, then how we can incorporate the contextual cues or the social strategies that we want to use, and how we can incorporate them into the generation. And for that, we are using knowledge-guided prompting for generating effective marketing materials. So this work is an ongoing project right now. What we are doing here is we are providing knowledge-guided prompts where we are using semantic search with knowledge graphs, and we are trying to condition the model to be able to generate socially relevant and contextually coherent marketing material. So that's what we are trying to do. But at the end, what we are trying to do here is we are trying to understand what actually marketing professionals need using the AI models, large language models, large visual models, or multimodal models, and how we can provide the best approach, just combining all these models and make a useful product for marketing professionals. But at the end, it is about understanding the social and behavioral insights in these interactions and human behavior, how humans actually react to this type of content or marketing material. And with that, I would like to open the floor for questions.
We have 2 minutes for questions. Anybody has any questions? Go. All right. Well, there we go. Thank you so much.
Okay, thank you.